Political Muscle. I'm Paul Maverick.
And I'm Jennifer Goth.
Today we're working out on the lat pull-down machine. This works out your latissimus dorsi, muscles of your back, as well as your biceps.
Like so.
Exactly. Well done, Jennifer.
Thank you.
The latest statistics have just come out on income disparity, and it turns out it's the widest gap in history. The top 10% of income earners are making 11.4 times more than people below the poverty line.
You know, Paul, when you say that, it doesn't really register to me.
Statistics, they're cold.
Yeah. And I've definitely seen more homeless people on the street.
We're seeing tent cities popping up around the country. Yeah. In fact, there's a story in the Huffington Post from Phoenix of a family. These were middle-class folks. The mom and the dad, they lost their jobs. They applied, according to the Huffington Post, hundreds of applications, couldn't find anything. And so they lost their home, and now they're, with their teenage daughter, living in a storage unit.
Yeah. Like with that family, it came back to the fact that the dad got sick, which just like brings it all back to healthcare again.
It does, yeah. You've got, how many of us are one paycheck away or one illness away from losing everything?
It's so annoying. Vicious circle, because being under the poverty line stresses you out, which in turn can make you sick.
You think about how low the poverty line is. For a single person, it was $10,900 a year. That's the federal poverty line.
Oh, you know what's even funnier? For a family of 4, they've given them $20,000, which determines you being under the poverty line.
Who can live on that? If you can, let us know where you live, so we'd like to move there. Think about it. So the fact that 40 million people have fallen below the poverty line this year, you think about how artificially low that poverty line is, and imagine if it was more reasonable, how many tens of millions more would be counted as impoverished. In the United States of America, greatest country on earth, woo, we're number one! People are spending on their credit cards to make up for the fact that wages have been in a 30-year decline, effectively, and yet consumer products have risen in price, so how do you make that up? You put it on credit. That's unsustainable, and that's had a lot to do with the economic crash we had last year.
No, yeah, banks are doing really well, which is what,
And we bailed them out, didn't we? $700 billion of our money. Plus. They're doing fine, and we're hurting. So you can see this machine actually has a belt on it to hold you in place so that you don't slide forward on the pedal.
Safety belt. What do we need in our country? Some sort of safety net.
Yeah, exactly. Our nation's been deindustrialized, right? All these industrial jobs that we'd had have gone overseas.
They're all service jobs now.
Exactly. So our nation's trade policies have a lot to do with why 3 million more have fallen into poverty, because we don't make anything anymore.
Yeah.
If we have more government intervention in places like, let's say, universal health care, it helps industry. One reason we're deindustrialized is we're not competitive. And we're not competitive because we don't have a single-payer universal health care system.
So healthcare, essentially the bottom line is, if we did have a universal healthcare system, a lot less people would be under this poverty line.
And those societies that are much more equal, they measure a lot better on all these indices of general wellness and happiness. Yeah. Call it socialism if you want to.
No, I've never said socialism was a bad thing.
These things are all connected. In the news, we get a sense of, well, here's a story about poverty, here's a story about education, here's a story about healthcare, here's a story about crime, and yet really they're all connected. And I think what connects them together is, are we a democracy, or are we a nation that has extreme power concentrated in the hands of a few? Mm-hmm. And I think the answer to these questions is to use the levers of government, like taxation. Taxation is intended to limit wealth. That's part of what it does. So let's do it.
Oh my God, are you guys working on my favorite machine, the lat pull down?
We love it.
Yeah,
Climb in.
That's awesome. Okay.
Even during boom times, the national poverty level was still 12.5%. How is that possible that so many people are left out of the boom? Yeah. Economic growth doesn't tend to benefit the people at the bottom.
Top 1%. And right now we're on more of like a downward spiral. So if we just have one like act to implement some sort of upward spiral that would only create this circle that's helping healthcare, which is helping crime, which is helping us all come out of this poverty.
What's the bold stroke that's going to cut the Gordian knot?
I think it's healthcare.
That's all the time we have for today. I'm Paul Maverick.
I'm Natalia Fedner.
And I'm Jennifer Goth. And this is us working together doing the poverty pull down.
So get out there and flex your political muscle.